All right. So I woke up today and I said I was going to make some videos talking about hip hop, current events, and news, regardless of if I actually wanted to talk about these topics that are going on. And this is one of the bigger stories that's going on right now. So here I am, forced to talk about it. What's going on? I'm Adam22. So basically, for those who don't know, Iggy Azalea and Azealia Banks, they've had beef for a long time, since like 2013, 2014, whenever they first started, both coming out around the same time. At first, I believed that the beef was really just over Azealia not appreciating all of the opportunities that Iggy was really being given as a result of the fact that she is, objectively like a pretty hot white woman who is making rap music. And I actually spent a good amount of time this morning sort of reviewing a lot of the songs from both artists so that I could have more of an intelligent perspective on what's going on here. I remember when Azealia and Iggy came out, and it's kind of crazy to look back on how simple the plot was laid out for us. Iggy at that time, it's easy to forget that she was really being looked at as like the next Nicki Minaj, as the next massive, female hip hop celebrity. She was having a lot of glowing profiles written about her and such. And, Azealia was really, and, let's just state the obvious, they have incredibly similar names. I'm not sure exactly who had it first, but Azealia Banks was looking at Iggy as, sort of a culture vulture, as like a white woman who was, clearly doing this sort of black imposter thing where she's this white woman from Australia who's sort of, clearly trying to rap in like a southern drawl. Kind of strange. She was signed by T.I., so I guess maybe T.I. sort of put that bright idea in her mind that she should rap like that. Or maybe she just thinks that's what rapping sounds like. Let's be honest, Australian accents, kind of annoying. I'm just going to throw that out there, man. That's just annoying. Anyway, at the time, the whole plot was laid out for us in such a simple way that Iggy was going to be this big star, and Azealia, like, almost immediately was just really given this sort of, she was typecast as being this like quintessential angry black woman who was mad because a white woman was doing well in the face of, her lack of success. A lot has changed in the way that I view this situation, 4 or 5 years removed from how it came out. Let's just say for starters that, Iggy Azalea is almost like 100% hated by the mainstream press, the hip hop fans, etc. She comes out and she puts out all these songs and she's trying to make an impact, but it just really seems like people do not fuck with her. People do not like her the same exact way that Azealia was sort of maligned early on in her career. And there's been this like big change, but the thing about Azealia is that she is not content to just let things go. Iggy got dropped by her label. We don't know when exactly, but she announced it like this week. And Azealia had to come out and have some clapbacks, some jokes about that. I guess I can understand because from Azalea's perspective, they were really pitted against each other from day one. And the truth is, if you take an objective listen to Iggy's music and Azalea's music, Azealia is so much better than her. And I'm saying that even with her early work, I think a lot of Azalea's more recent stuff that I was listening to earlier today, I think is really good too. But the way she came out, I consider myself extremely familiar with the skill sets of most of the female rappers out there. At least I feel like I have a confident opinion of how good they are at actually rapping, as well as that I feel like, I have a pretty strong sense of who could be successful in the perspective of, who's got the personality, the image, etc. All this stuff matters. When I listen to Azealia Banks, and I don't remember really having this opinion of her early on, I hear a real artist. I hear somebody who really has something to say, who can't keep her fucking mouth shut, but probably as a result of the fact that she really has that personality type. She, as a musician, and I have no idea how much, this is always the criticism that's levied at women, is that to some extent, a lot of them maybe get help. Maybe they have their lyrics written for them. I have no idea if Azealia has ever been accused of that or anything. Iggy, I ain't believing anybody if they tell me that she wrote all her own shit. So with Azealia, though, man, she takes a lot of extreme stylistic risks. Well, maybe not extreme, but she's really clearly following her heart. She's making music that comes from her soul, and it really kind of makes me feel a little bit guilty about the fact that she was treated so badly early on in her career, just because, it wasn't because of the music. That's the thing about it, is that, people frequently get sort of pushed into a position where nobody gives a fuck about them anymore, and usually it's because the music sucks. With her, I really think the music is pretty good, and I'm familiar with a lot of the women who are coming out in the rap game these days, and I think she's better than nearly all of them. But at the same time, man, she was always just burdened with this this personality type that they always wanted to put her into, and just say that she's this angry black woman. A lot of the criticisms that Azealia Banks had of Iggy Azalea and of really rap in general back in the day that might have made her sound like a bit of a nut, now really sound like more mainstream sort of, social justice warrior type criticisms. And a lot of the things that she was saying about Iggy in particular are like the things that the mainstream press is basically completely comfortable of saying about Iggy. So I don't know what that necessarily means for Azalea's career, because I'm not, the whole thing about her is that she just never really played the game. She really strikes me as a person who's always just had her own opinion, had her own thing to say, and always was just really like living her life on Twitter or in public in a way that seems very similar to, how somebody would act if they had a lot of controversial opinions, but just really refused to be muted, refused to just give in and not say those things. Anybody who's a public figure knows that there's immense pressure on you to sort of sand down the edges of your personality and just, not be offensive, not call out some other female rapper just because you don't like what she's doing or whatever. I mean, those are the things that you learn real early in the rap game, is that if you're going to talk shit or if you're going to have your own opinion, et cetera, that you just have to be really, really meticulous with who you go after and how you approach beefs and stuff. Because if you go after somebody who's bigger than you, has a fan base that overlaps with you in any way, and they're not going to like you because of the fact that you went after this person, I mean, those are real concerns, and especially from like the label's perspective. I believe Azealia has been dropped by at least one, maybe two labels over the years. They really don't want their stars to sort of be putting themselves out there like that. With Azealia, it seems like she's the kind of person who's so true to herself that there was probably never a chance that she was going to just, play along and play this character that just gets along with everybody. I don't think it was ever going to happen. And now when I look at Azalea's personality, I sort of feel like she has the durability that I could still see her, if she ended up in the right position, perspective, whatever, that she would be able to actually have like a real music career going forward. But she just has to end up in like the right position. And I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like her personality is just, let's just acknowledge it. Musical talent, I think she's got a lot of it. Ability to appeal to the mainstream artists and to be considered likable to them, not the mainstream artists, but to, the mainstream fans, and to actually seem likable to them. I don't know. It's kind of harder for me to imagine Azealia like really being able to be a super popular artist because of the likability factor. But I mean, that's the same exact problem that Iggy had. Iggy, it just doesn't really read as likable to people these days. But also, a lot of the stuff that got Iggy in trouble early on is the kind of stuff that I don't know how much damage it would do to her in 2018, because, Trump's president and everything's ridiculous. Everything's offensive. And a lot of the things that sort of took Iggy out of the game, where I feel like people were excited for a white Australian hot girl rapper for a period of time. And then that seems like it really just dissipated and just became something that people explicitly did not want very quickly. Another thing that I found interesting was that, do you remember the situation where RZA invited Azealia to a party at Russell Crowe's house? And this whole thing happened where allegedly, I don't know exactly what sparked it, but Russell Crowe allegedly called her the N-word or spit on her. And there was this whole thing where everybody thought that Azealia was lying and that she made up the N-word thing and everything. Well, I was just reading the Wikipedia article, and it says that RZA at a later date admitted that Crowe did spit towards her. I don't know what the status of the N-word thing is. But I mean, generally speaking, if a guy spits on a woman for any reason, he should usually be the one taking the L in the situation. Apparently not here. I'm not really quite sure why. Also, one more thing is that I did Google Azealia Banks breast implants because I was watching like this music video that she put like 5 months ago, and I'm like, there's no way she had those this whole time. And sure enough, it was in the New York Post or something. They were talking about it. Iggy also, let's just state the obvious, she has a ridiculous fake ass that she recently got spruced up. These things, you know, you got to get them touched up every few years, I guess. So I don't know. I actually think they're both babes to a certain extent. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. But I spent some time trying to make this video today, and I just want to say that I think I was really wrong about Azealia Banks back in the day. And Iggy never really cared for her music at all, and I would say that seems pretty spot on. Although I think that, you know, there was a period of time where I was sort of looking at her like, damn, Iggy's gonna be huge, and she was. Like, people forget that she was fucking huge, doing crazy numbers, had all these little girl fans. And I don't even understand necessarily how that works. Like, what happened to all those little girls who were obsessed with Iggy Azalea? Like, what did they move on to? And it's just so interesting that they probably easily were able to just move on to some other artist and just sort of forget about that brief period in their fandom. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts. Iggy, Azalea, who you fuck with? Should I do an Azealia Banks interview? That would be great, man. Actually, I would like to have an excuse to sort of dig in more and like really form more of an opinion about her music, even though I was very impressed by it today. I really feel like Azealia Banks, man, like I'm surprised that I've never seen her talking shit about me on Twitter or something before, man, because she does have like a fake account. And also, yes, that is the other thing I want to say is that not a fake account, but she made like a second account because she was banned. She has like 30K on her other account now and shit, which is pretty impressive considering that like usually when you lose your original Twitter, they don't even let you have another one. Never mind, like, you know, accrue a decent number of followers on there. But I was reading about what she got banned for, and some of her criticisms of what the fuck's his name? This one dude that she was calling gay, and just calling him like a sand N-word and all this stuff. I mean, it's pretty fucking offensive. She also said at one point that she thought that Sarah Palin deserved to be gang raped, but apparently she was fooled by a fake Sarah Palin op-ed. And that's why she said it. So, whatever. Let me know what you think. Azealia Banks, if you're watching this, let me know about the interview. Iggy, I guess you can let me know about the interview too. Oh, and also, I should talk about this. I keep acting like I'm going to end this. But Bang Bros, they put out a request to get Iggy Azalea to do porn in the face of her being dropped from her label. And then she put out a statement, mad as fuck, that they did this offer to her and said, you know, I don't want to be a sex worker, blah, 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 which, okay, fuck you. But, you know, when are people going to get sick of this thing that porn companies always do? Normally it's like Pornhub or something, but this time it's Bang Bros. They always do this thing where anything that happens to a woman, they just offer like, oh, do Playboy, do Hustler, blah, blah, blah. It's always this shit where they just, you know, get some viral cool points by like offering some woman an opportunity to do porn. I mean, spoiler alert, most women know that porn is an option. Like, I'm sure Iggy Azalea knows that she could make a lot of short-term cash by doing porn. I'm assuming that she just doesn't want to do it. And I kind of agree with her that it's sort of creepy and like fucked up to just like taint every story about a woman with like a weird hypothetical porn offer. But this is America, and that's what we do, apparently. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be on stream later. Peace.